Dele and co, also going through. Everybody who means well should come together to get the country to work. There's a lot of, call it, lies. There's a lot of propaganda. There's a lot of, trying to, bamboozle the people.
This channel not only feed your eyes with good movies, we also bring you the hottest and the newest trend around the globe. My darlings, sit tight and enjoy this one.
Labour Party leader Peter Obi this week challenged President Bola Tinubu to explain to Nigerians what deliberate steps he intends to take to reduce inflation to 15% in 2025, down from the current 34.6%, instead of engaging in mere rhetoric. The former governor of Anambra State wants the president to visit each of Nigeria's 36 states for 2 days to afford him the opportunity to better understand the dire economic and security situations bugging Nigerian citizens. He also lamented that many Nigerians have become refugees and exiles in their own country. While preferring alternative solutions to tackle Nigeria's governance challenges, Mr. Obi underscored what he called the hounding of opposition figures in the country and noted that the climate for opposition politics has progressively become toxic.
Mr. President, out of approximately 580 days you have been in office, it is reported that you have spent about 30% or around 180 days on more than 30 publicly recorded trips overseas. My appeal is that you dedicate 20% of 2025, roughly 72 days, to visit each of the 36 states for 2 days each. As a president, such visit will give you opportunity to better understand their economic and security situations across the country. I'll wait and see how the inflation will come down from 34 to 15%. Because the main driver of inflation, as you know, is food. On the sea rice, coming down from 100 to about 50, beans coming down, all coming down below the minimum wage, then we can begin to say yes. So it is not something you say, it is what you do and what people feel. Government have consistently maintained that our tax to GDP, tax to this is very low. You've seen it every day. And I said it's wrong. Tax is a function of productivity. The country is unproductive. So are you going to tax 100 million Nigerians that are living in extreme poverty? Are you going to tax those people I saw in IDP camps yesterday? Are you going to tax the factories that are shut down in Kano? Go to Bompai, go to Shadan 1, Shadan 2. Where are you going to tax? You tax is a function of productivity. When the country is productive, people are gainfully employed, then you can tax them. And we can generate more tax. What we need now is to reflect the country, make it productive, and then we can talk about generating more revenue. For me, what is important now is about Nigeria today. We are so occupied about election, just like we're so occupied about power capture, that we refuse to deal with our issue. We have people who are dying because of a bags of rice, half bag of beans. People are dying. Oppositions here are actually in difficulty. If I tell you what I face, what I go through, what my family go through, you wouldn't even believe I will still be standing and going around this country. But I've made up my mind that if this is the end, so be it. Because we can't allow the country. It is difficult to be in opposition in this country. Extremely difficult. Because everything is against you. People don't even want to see you. They don't even want to talk to you. I see colleagues that greet them at the airport, they don't even want to reply because they feel they don't want the government of the day to see you or see them greeting you. Your businesses, everything you're involved is being dismantled. That is not a country. We need to show more commitment to the future of our country. None of us is going to live here forever. That is the part of what Dele and Co. also going through. Everybody who means well should come together to get the country to work. There's a lot of, call it, lies. There's a lot of propaganda. There's a lot of, trying to, bamboozle the people going on here and there, which has to stop. Let's build this country.
Well, we're now being joined by former National Vice Chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Chief Hilliard Etta, to dissect Peter Obi's position on the state of the nation, as well as critique his suggestions to President Tinubu. Good day and welcome to Newsday.
Thank you very much for having me, and Happy New Year to all of you.
Happy New Year, Mr. Etta. Let's go straight into
Happy New Year to Nigerians.
Yes. So Peter Obi has called for a reduction in the cost of governance, redirecting funds toward critical sectors like security. He mentioned health, education, and even poverty alleviation. Well, his suggestions seem noble, but what are the practical and political hurdles in implementing such a strategy in a country like Nigeria, where governance structures are deeply entrenched in bureaucracy and patronage systems? An example I would give is this local government on autonomy of funds, for example. Do you see this as a realistic goal under the current Tinubu administration?
Well, first of all, let me start by saying that I did not have the privilege of listening to him yesterday, but from the excerpts of what you have just brought forward, I'd like to say only two things. Number one, the time for electioneering is over. The rhetoric of Mr. Peter Obi sounds as if somebody that is on the stump. It is true that we have these challenges in the country, but time has come for politicians to become statesmen. If you have solutions to the challenges that we have in the country, then you put it forward, especially that you are in the forefront of the opposition to the government. Put an alternative solution so that the people will get which solution that has been brought forward, whether by the government or by the opposition, is well suited for the challenges that we have in the country. Number two is that he seems to think that Nigeria is all about him. It's unfortunate. We're about 200 and something million of us. It is not about his business, whether some people reply to his text or not. These are our personal issues. We all have our personal issues. We should not bring them up and make it look as if they are national issues. For me, that is what I just got from the excerpts that you have just published. Having said that, I agree with him. I read about what he said yesterday. I agree with him that we need responsible and responsible leadership from the federal to the state and the local government level. Good for Nigeria at the national level. We have a president who is responsive and who is responsible. You cannot say the same for the sub-national governments. You cannot say the same for the state governments. If we have a preponderance of reform-minded, responsive and responsible governors in the 36 states, or a preponderance of them in the 36 states of the country, our story would have been different. The same thing can be said of the local government administration. Having said so, let me directly answer your question when it comes to things like the reforms at the local government level. It is incumbent on every Nigerian to make sure that resources that will now be given to their local government areas and their local government chairmen are channeled towards the development of their various local government areas. Good for Nigeria, we have the Freedom of Information Act, and Nigerians should avail themselves with this act. I am going to do so. In my own local government area, I have given notice that from the day that the resources that is meant for my local government area is given to my local government chairman, I will demand from him from time to time, using the instrumentality of the Freedom of Information Act, to make available the way and manner in which the local government resources are spent. This, we have to replicate this all over the country. Remember, my dear sister, that we are a developing country. Most of these things are institutionalized in the developed countries. We do not have them. We meet these things as we go on developing our environment. We meet these things. The FOI is less than 20 years. I think it's less than 20 years. I don't have the figures at hand. And so we should know that the responsibility of making sure that the reforms that the Mr. President has put in place trickles down to our various localities, our crevices of the country, our hamlets, our villages, our households, is also our responsibility. The president has done his own by bringing out these policies. I think that we should drive them to our households, we should drive them to our villages, we should drive them to our hamlets. This is a responsibility that we all owe ourselves. Now, he has talked about the fact that we don't seem to have growth. We don't seem to have seen any growth in the right direction. I don't think that is very correct. I have seen growth in our foreign reserve. I have seen growth in the stability of Naira. I have seen growth in the downward spiral of the prices of petroleum products. I have seen growth around these areas. These are not enough growth to impact on the day-to-day life of the average Nigerian. And the gestation period between the growth and the impact on our lives is such that we have to give the president some time for this to happen. But for one to say that he has not seen there is no growth, nothing has happened in the country, I don't believe that if this was the case, that this organization will make Mr. President the man of the year. And on that basis, let me even thank all of you in the DZ organization for making Mr. President man of the year. It shows that this is a president who is not interested in the next election. The kinds of actions that Mr. President has taken, the policies that he has brought about, are the ones that politicians run away from because it makes you unpopular and the next election is just around the corner. But he does not care because he believes that this is the time to act. This is the time to bring those things that must propel Nigeria to where Nigeria ought to be. That is why he's doing what he's doing. And I think that he's in the right direction. Now, there are certain things that he has not done. If you ask me, I will tell you those things from my own perspective. But you see, for people like Mr. Peter Obi, people like Mr. Atiku Abubakar, all what they need to do is to bring their own version of the solutions to the public so that we weigh it and see. And if the president is not responsive to those kinds of solutions, if we have weighed it and have seen that it will best suit our challenges, then we'll now hold the president responsible.
All right, Mr. Etta. Welcome back to Newsday. Thank you for staying with us. We were speaking with a former National Vice Chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Chief Hilliard Etta. He was dissecting Peter Obi's position on the state of the nation. Mr. Etta, can you confirm that you can hear me now, please?
Yes, I can hear you very well.
Thank you. Thank you for your patience as well. Now, at the start of this interview, you did mention that you didn't watch Peter Obi's interview fully. I would have loved if you had the opportunity.
Yes.
But some might say that his statements were not personal. even though he was trying to be, it was a case of him trying to show that he could relate to the sufferings of the Nigerian people, which is why he did mention that he's challenging the president to visit each state of the federation for 2 days to get a real feel of what Nigerians are going through. And one other thing that he mentioned was that he would like the president to give details to Nigerians on how he plans to bring down inflation from well over 30% to 15% this year. Just those two suggestions, do you think that it's something that the APC can address quickly? Because those are some suggestions that he's made.
Okay, let me attempt to deal with these issues from this perspective. Now, I heard in the excerpts that you published that he was talking about the number of days that Mr. President had spent outside of the country. It would seem that the president spent these days outside of the country frolicking or going out to have parties and to have fun. Mr. President is a very serious-minded reformer. In fact, he's a revolutionary. He has gone out there to impact on the economy, to impact on the social well-being of Nigeria. So I just want to deal with that. But coming to the president traveling to the 36 states of Nigeria, Nigeria is a federation. We have 36 state governors who relate with Mr. President almost on a daily basis. There is nothing that is happening in Nigeria with the structures of government in Nigeria that the president is not aware. The president is aware that we do not have good roads in Nigeria. The president is aware that the Human Development Index of Nigeria is in the negative. So when I started by saying that, it sounded to me as somebody who is on the stump, on an electioneering stump. That's what I mean. Because there is absolutely nothing that he can mention that is happening in the states that the president is unaware of. The president is unaware of the conditions of Nigeria, and he is working every day, 24/7, to make sure that solutions that will match the challenges that we have in Nigeria are brought to bear. So what I would have expected Mr. Peter Obi to say, for instance, is that on the matter of education, this is what I think that Nigeria should do. And then we will weigh it and see whether what the president is doing or what Mr. Obi has suggested is which one is superior to the other. And Nigerians will choose and pick. You see, opposition politics in Nigeria is predicated on always wanting to bring down the government. Opposition politics is that you bring solutions that are different from the one that the government has proffered and allow the people to choose and pick. So I am yet to see a body of solutions that the opposition of Nigeria have come together to bring to say, look, Nigeria needs these kinds of solutions, not the one that the APC has presented. And until they do so, it is an empty kind of opposition that we do not need in Nigeria. We need viral, very articulate opposition. We need opposition that will do what is necessary to keep the government on track. What they are doing generally is that whether the president brings down inflation from 34% to 12%, they will find a way to say that it is not real. When the president takes the foreign reserve from 31 billion to 41 billion, they will say it is not real. When the cost of fuel comes down, they will tell you that it is not real. That is the kind of opposition that we have in Nigeria. And I want to say that it is not the kind of opposition that we need. Whether you are in opposition or you are in government, in a country like Nigeria, we need patriots and statesmen. Because your solution, your solutions to the problems of Nigeria is not personal. If you have the solutions to the challenges that we have in Nigeria, it is not personal to you. God has imputed it into you for you to bring to the good, for the good of Nigerians. So we need to change the color and the tint of the way we carry on as opposition.
All right, then. Thank you so much, Mr. Hilliard. We appreciate your submissions on Newsday, and Happy New Year once again.
Thank you for having stayed to the end of this video. You made me really happy. one more thing, click on the notification bell so anytime I upload, you will be the first to be notified. See you on the next one.